Sativa versus Indica. Which weed is better? And this was inspired by a question by Doobie88 who said, "Hey Seb, a sativa strain's a better choice if I want to avoid being lazy and tired because I only been smoking indica and I'm tired of all this laziness." For those of you that don't know, there's two general types of marijuana, sativa and indica. This is going to be a roundabout answer with tons of controversy trickled throughout it as per usual, because scientifically the survey is still out on how different they are. We all agree scientifically that there's two different types of marijuana, but even science cannot decide whether they are subspecies or different species entirely. And I'm going to rely on a general consensus here that CBD to THC ratios are higher in cannabis indica than in sativa, which is not always the case. So please keep that in mind. There are exceptions to all these rules. There is also a ton of controversy over which one is better, which is stronger, and what the real benefits of high ratios of CBD versus THC really are. So I'll talk about the effects first. The general consensus is that sativa produces more of an energetic head high, while indicas give you that mellow, lethargic sort of stoned feeling. If you were to choose sativa versus indica for energy, smoking sativa will take less energy from you than indica will. So smoke sativa. So the unique effects of sativa would be that it's a lighter, higher feeling, or more of a head high rather than a body stone. You'll have more determined thoughts. Using your own creativity and taking action on that will be easier with a sativa type marijuana than it will be with an indica. And when you smoke sativa, you're more likely to be social and cool and still hang out with people. It's more of a social high. Sativa is also very interesting and different to indica because it actually has alerting effects on your body in very small doses. Once you start smoking it all day though, and you take large doses, it will still be a sedative very quickly. So for regular smokers that want to smoke in the morning, have brekkie bongs, wake and bake, or just for a day smoke, most regular marijuana smokers would choose a sativa. So indica's a bit different, and these are just the unique effects between indica and sativa. So indica's a much more heavy stoned feeling, it's the body stoned. This is where you just want to sit down. With an indica, it'll still give you that creative effect, so you'll think of many different thoughts as opposed to having one train of thought, so you're more open-minded, but your train of thought is not as long. And you'll really notice this when you smoke indica, and when you're in the middle of a conversation with someone and you just stop. You don't know what you were talking about, right? And you're like, what was I saying? And you should know, but you don't because your train of thought is really short. You have less determined thoughts. So obviously that makes being creative and taking action with that creativity pretty difficult. Indica is a bit different to sativa because in small doses or large doses, it is a sedative. Even if you smoke that first bowl or joint, you will probably immediately want to sit down or lie down, right? Or more of a chance of that with indica than with sativa. Indica is the antisocial marijuana. People call it couch lock. You smoke indica and you're just in your seat, right? You are stoned. So most regular smokers would choose an indica for their night smoke because they believe it puts them to sleep. I'm being very general here and I'm running on a consensus. CBD to THC ratio will be higher in an indica and the ratio will be higher towards THC with a sativa. As for growers, indica will usually have a higher yield of buds per pound, so the yield is higher with indica and it has a shorter growing season. So growers like this. It's better for indoor growing because they don't get as tall. You can grow sativas in your home, but you want a much higher ceiling. And indicas are generally found naturally in Southern Asia and the Indian sort of subcontinent. They're darker green in colour, thicker leaves, branches grow closer together, they grow shorter and thicker, and they produce more buds. So if you were a small-time grower growing out of your home, most people would choose indica type of marijuana to grow for themselves. Sativa has a higher THC than CBD, which equals the cerebral soaring type of high and the more energetic feeling. The yield is usually lower than indica, but it is very potent weed, and sativas grow pretty much everywhere. So sativas, the lighter green colour, narrow leaves, branches far apart, they grow tall and thin, and they produce less buds, kind of. It's kind of the gangly, Gumby sort of marijuana, grows very large like a tree, but the buds are very few and far between. But because it's such a big plant, you can probably get more buds off the plant overall, but you'll get less buds per pound. And buds per pound is all a grower would care about financially, and that is why growers prefer indica. Now I'll tell you which one sellers prefer, and usually it's indica. It's better for dealers because when you smoke indica, it's more likely to cause that initial hit, really knock you on your ass, and that is usually how a stoner would judge the quality of their weed. If they smoke weed and it puts them right on their ass, whether they prefer that feeling or not, they're not usually thinking about that. They're just thinking, wow, that's strong marijuana. So it is arguably perceived as stronger. It is more likely to be smoked once you are in a zombie state of being stoned from indica marijuana. you're more likely to just keep picking it up and smoking it, whereas a sativa you might get distracted doing something that has to do with life. So financially, dealers are more inclined to sell indica more often. Which weed is more common on the street? Well, the most common marijuana you would buy from the street is hybrids, mostly indica dominant, and it's obvious why. So growers usually have higher financial gain with indica. Dealers also usually have higher financial gain with indica. Indica dominant strains are found more often than sativa on the street, and that is probably one of the main reasons that sativa strains became more popular with regular marijuana smokers. So higher financial gain for growers is indica, higher financial gain for dealers is indica, preferred by most regular weed smokers, probably sativa. And which is most common? I would say it more has to do with what your dealers are doing. Generally, everyone prefers indica because it moves, it sells, it's easy to grow, it's quicker to grow, it has a lot of benefits to a dealer and a grower. But every now and then, a dealer will say, I want some really different stuff, or I want some good stuff, let's get some high strain sativa. The one you're going to find everywhere is indica. Sativa's a bit more rare, but it's still everywhere. So which weed is better? Well, they're just really different. Nothing I'm saying here is across the board. You can find indicas with higher THC levels than sativas. But as always, the best information comes from real life experience, real users smoking weed. So what do you guys think? Which weed do you prefer? Do you prefer indica? Do you prefer sativa? I'd love to know what you guys think. Just write +1 sativa or +1 indica. And then leave your comment afterwards, or just leave it like that. Don't forget to like the video if you liked this video. It helps so much, guys. Cheers for doing it, and I'll talk to you again soon.